What's going on? Into the Last Dragon. This is your host, RoyRob. I have a super episode coming your way. Today features one of my good friends, Adam Meredith, and we're going to go into a lot of good things. We're going to talk about mixed martial arts. We're going to talk about, of course, a little bit of Last Dragon. In the Last Dragon, we're going to talk about all the great things that we've been building on in our community. So check this episode out. He's got me pumped up and motivated. He's working on a challenge right now to help improve himself. It's called the 75-day hard challenge, and I think I'm going to do it as well. So I would love to have some individuals join me in this journey. Check it out, see what you think. If you're interested, let's come along together and do this ride together as far as challenging ourselves to become tougher mentally and stronger mentally. So check this episode out. I think you're really going to like it. If you're in the St. Louis area and you're interested in self-defense, exercise, martial arts, and just getting a good workout, we partner with St. Charles MMA. You can visit stcharlesmma.com and get more details. But if you sign up and mention RoyRob and Enter the Last Dragon, get a free month of training. Now, let's get into some martial arts.
You want to fight?
All right, my people. Guess what? We are back. Enter the Last Dragon. We are on season 1. And believe it or not, episode number 6. Number 6, man. I have my homie Adam Meredith here. Let me tell you, I got a very special guest, someone who I've known for quite some time. This individual has done amazing things. He is a business owner. He has He has his own podcast, which we'll get all into that. Outside perspective, he has his own wellness training business as well, and he's just an all-around great individual. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, dude. I appreciate it.
No problem, man.
Yeah.
Tell us your story, man. Tell my people what's going on. Tell us about
so much
you.
story. I mean, where do you want me? What specifically? So you want me to talk about like martial arts and stuff? I don't know. That's
course.
kind of the.
That's it.
That's the focus, right?
That's the focus, man.
Yeah.
Tell us what made you get into martial arts, man.
Oh man. So for me, it was kind of like a natural transition from wrestling, getting into like, fighting and that competition aspect. But ever since, probably like most kids, dude, like you watch, for me it was what was the Karate Kid, dude. I watched Karate Kid, dude, and I wanted to do it, so I started
LaRusso.
Yeah, man. Started karate as a kid.
Daniel LaRusso. All right.
But we were talking before, dude, like I didn't have a lot of money, dude, so there was a period there where my mom would like clean the gym to help me, like help pay for the dues.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
man.
but it got to a point to where like she couldn't afford for like the testing. You know what I mean? Like to get to the next belt. Or I think I stopped whatever the belt was like right before I think red belt. I think went to like red and then brown and then black. I think.
Wow.
But so yeah, I stopped that and then kind of got into normal sports as far as play basketball and football and different things. I wrestled in high school. And then after I stopped wrestling in college,
collegiate athlete. All right.
It was just, I remember like I was a fan of fighting at that time.
Yeah.
I remember watching the first Ultimate Fighter, like a lot of people.
Right.
Dude, and then I was like, man, well, I can do this. Like, I thought I was gonna play football in college. Like that never worked out. I didn't make it to the league, or I wasn't that guy. And I was like, man, well, this is like, I can do this for sure. I have control over this. I was more geared towards individual sports anyway.
Wow.
So it was like a real natural transition, getting, going from wrestling into fighting. I craved competition, and I wanted to make it like, I saw that as an opportunity to provide the life that I wanted on my own terms.
That's awesome. So when you started, this would have been, I think we talked about this. You said around 2009, right, for BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Yeah, so that's whenever I started at St. Charles MMA. So I had my first 4 fights. I started in 2008.
As an MMA fighter?
As an MMA fighter, independent, right? I had no gym.
Wow.
Just wrestling experience. I worked out a lot, and I watched a ton of UFC. But I watched it. So growing up an athlete, dude, and you can probably test this in football, man. I'm sure you guys did this in basketball as well. You watch a lot of film.
Yep.
Every Sunday we were watching film, and like I used to love to watch, like, break down my wrestling matches and watch my wrestling matches. It makes you cringe. You see the lazy things that you do. But I would watch UFC. It was just like film, dude. And I would just learn and study from that.
It's amazing.
And man. So I went like 4-0 with 3 submissions. And then Josh Sampo was trained. Like, he was a senior at Lindenwood. Yeah, dude, savage wrestler. Had a really hell of a career.
Yeah.
And he was a senior at Lindenwood on the wrestling team whenever I was a freshman. So he was training there at the time, and so I came in and checked it out because at the time I remember I was looking for a gym, and there was that one, and then there was Andre's.
Oh, okay.
And I think he was on like Campus Drive or something there in like St. Charles over there by like that Dollar movie theater.
Yeah.
So, man, I just never went in there. I kind of heard a couple horror stories about that place, so I never went in. And then I finally went to Mike's, and the rest is kind of history, man.
That's cool, man. So you worked out with, and so listeners, just so you know, there's a couple of names that was just dropped. Andre is former UFC.
Jermaine Andre. Yeah, man.
Trainer. He was like one of the original guys.
Oh, man, pioneer in the sport, dude. Just, fought all over the world and then won some titles.
And then
savage.
Joshua Sampo, he's a part of SCMMA. He is as well as one of our teammates. He's an individual that been in the UFC, just really trained for a while, and you've worked out with all these guys as well. So that's
awesome. Man, Sampo. Cool. He actually just had a fight. He just fought in New York, fought Muay Thai.
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't think he's fought in well over a year.
Yeah, I saw that. I was peeping it out on Facebook. So when it comes to you get to Mike's gym, what did it feel like? Hey, you've already had MMA fights. Did you feel like, hey, I can do this? I'm good. Yeah,
man. Well, I felt like I had a lot of raw potential, and like I knew I needed to I didn't know any jiu-jitsu. I knew that. Like I knew I needed find a coach and find a place.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that he would just take me on, see the potential, and help me grow. Because I was broke, dude. I was I had a kid and I was working, and I was 21 or however old I was at that time. And I was like, man, just hopefully. So he's like, all right, man, we'll just come and try it out. And then he just told me to come back the next day. Just come back the next day.
That's cool.
And then to pay my dues, I would I trim the hedges and cut the grass and clean the bathroom and just different things. Just work around the gym, dude.
Big guy with a cuddly heart, you know what I mean?
Man, there's sometimes, dude, because he was living above the gym at the time. I can remember sometimes he'd wake up, come downstairs, open the gym up for me so I could go hit the bags before I go to class in the morning, get those workouts in. I just remember being so obsessed. I was in that gym for 4 or 5 hours a day.
That was me too, man. I literally, when I first got kicked off and I didn't have the marriage and I didn't have the babies and regular normal life kind of getting away, very young, inspired into the sport. I remember you guys coming in, and it was motivating to see all the energy that the gym was getting, because the more competition, the better your game can get. You know what I mean? So it just felt good, man. It was just a good time, man. We had T Wood still working out with us there.
Yeah.
It was a great energy for the gym, man. It was I was working through. I think I was already a blue belt by that time.
Yeah, you're a blue belt.
Yeah, so it was good, man. Just pounding through it.
It was a different time, man. Everybody was hungry. We were all amateur at that time.
Right,
Still that one-room gym.
Right, man. We was bullies on that mat, man.
Savages in there,
dude. Right?
So many good people came through there.
Oh my God, man. It's just of course.
But it was different then.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to a lot of our I guess you would call it sister schools, but you even have even Pedigo, man. He's is just killing it.
We have a ton of affiliates that are just killing it right now. I mean, the Pedigo in Illinois, and Kirk's putting together a fantastic program out at Arnold.
Wow.
I mean, he has Dakota Zimmerman,
I didn't even know that. They got Arnold popping now? Is that right?
Yeah, man. She's a world champion in jiu-jitsu.
I know.
She fought on Bellator.
And
so he's
awesome.
growing his program, and headquarters is really nice.
Now, who was that? We also have another lady at our gym who is rocking and rolling. What's the little girl? She's blonde. She has blonde hair.
Kelly D'Angelo.
Kelly.
Yeah, man. She's fighting. She's an Invicta FC fighter, and she's killing. Dude, she's a firefighter. And,
I met her. I was on 5th Street in St. Charles, and I got my SCMMA jacket on.
Yeah.
You go there? I was like, yeah. Dude, who are you? And she was like. I was like, hey, I'm Mike's first blue belt. And she was like, get the F out of here. That's my school. Her excitement level was times 10.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? She's super great
dope.
energy.
Yeah, I had her on the podcast. She's dope.
Super great energy, man.
Yeah.
So, with your MMA experience, man, so you're now at the gym. You're training hard. You get a fight up under Mike's belt. How did that go, your 5th fight?
I won that one, man. I was so tired. That was actually on a really good card, Victory FC. It was just outside of Omaha and Council Bluffs, Iowa, is where they held that.
Okay.
This big arena. It was actually like 5,000 people there.
Wow.
It was like huge, dude. It was super cool. They had like the square cage. Fought this really tough dude. I won. I won the decision. Yeah, dude. It was good.
Do you recall those times like as like one of those times in life that you're able to explain these to your your kids and be like, Dad did this at that time? And
Yeah, sometimes I'm so hard on myself that I have a hard time like celebrating success because I'm like, maybe it was just one of those things that were ingrained for me from like an older coach. But it was like, especially in football, like you don't celebrate a whole lot when you win because you already put in the work. You expect to do that, you know what I mean? And you're gonna go do it again, and especially in wrestling because such high turnover.
So
you can't sit there and just celebrate every win. In a match in a tournament, dude. Like I'll make 4 or 5 matches, and you can't sit there and celebrate every one. And, it's good to live in the moment, and like now I kind of live by like a 24-hour rule where you celebrate for 24 hours, man, but you can't live in that shit.
I feel that.
Yeah, can I cuss on your podcast?
Yeah, you can.
Sorry,
you can
I did.
It's all good. Man. It's all good. So check this out. So like I look at that and relate to because with the podcast and as a reflection of about two legends, Bruce Lee and Bruce Leroy. You hear some of these wise moments and these wise things, but I feel like that's a nugget you just dropped. That's a good nugget right there. So it's kind of like you want to have that win. You want to acknowledge the win.
Yeah, it's important to acknowledge because I was so heavy on the one side where I just wouldn't even acknowledge them. It's like, yeah, it happened, cool.
That's extreme, right?
Yeah,
that's extreme.
And I even do that like we were talking earlier, like on just like kind of the things I was able to accomplish. I just look at like all of the shit, all the stuff I didn't accomplish. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh well, yeah, I did this and I did that, but it's like, yeah, I mean, it wasn't that great. You know what I mean? Like I never really gave it all the time that I had. Like I had breaks in between. Like I focused on all those things, but it's like, man, I put together a pretty solid run. Like I did fight on Bellator. Like they were offering me contracting, but then I got like injured, and then it was kind of one of those things where you got to come back and win to like kind of get to where you wanted to be. And then I didn't have it at that moment. Like mentally, it's just the mindset wasn't. Physically, I felt better than ever.
Right.
I couldn't totally physically do it, but like I got in there, I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't even want to be in here. And I started worrying about my brain all the time, and just the concussions and CTE and TBI and just all this stuff. I'm just like, man.
See, I actually relate a lot of the stuff that people go through on day-to-days, and I take a lot of things from movies. I was just my own personal story. I got my motivation from seeing The Last Dragon, and I would see Bruce Leroy, an individual who had went through all these turmoil, kind of a situation where he was just the outcast to a certain degree in his culture. His culture, as growing up in the individual in the 80s at the time, it was kind of like a movement of a certain type of black person. So you got let's just say in general, you got Soul Train going on. That's what they see physically on TV for black representation.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying? And then you got certain, maybe a show here and there, maybe the news, and that's the maximum they see. And then all of a sudden you have a movie. For me, I saw this movie come out, and I saw an individual who was just different.
Yeah.
It was just different. And I think about like all the challenges he's gone through. And it reminds me of just those challenges are just like it's like those obstacles. Like sometimes you want to, like the statement I just heard from you said, hey, I think about the stuff I haven't done. Like you could be that individual who have so many things in the road and you're trying to get from A to Z. Somebody next to you may not have nothing in the road and they don't got to climb over nothing. They don't have to go up under nothing. But they could just walk an easy breeze while you got to go through everything just to get to A to Z, right? And so, like, I found myself doing that. Like, dang, look what I haven't got done yet. How is X, Y, Z? I found myself being in that grass is greener. You know what I'm saying?
Like comparing?
Comparing,
yeah,
man.
I don't like compare because comparison is like the thief of joy.
So, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're comparing like your journey to somebody else's and like your timeline to theirs. It'll just drain your happiness.
It drains you, right? So I found myself thinking about that's one of the reasons why I feel like I've been able to be creative and think outside of not like a reality. Like I don't want to look at real individuals as my what I would do is when I was younger, Roy, and be like, well, what have they got accomplished, or what have they done? But I can look at and think like if I was in the comic book, if I was a superhero.
Yeah.
And I can be different, and I can be okay with my different and think creatively and just be outside of the box, and I don't have to be the same. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's important to be authentic, dude. I'm like the weird guy everywhere I go. Like
that's how Bruce Leroy was, right?
Be myself, man.
That's yourself,
so,
right?
Yeah,
you know what I'm
authentic.
saying? Dude, if somebody say, Roy, what's something, like I can literally go and say I've done a laundry list of things, and they'd be like, "Get the heck out of here!" When I tell my story, and I'm like, "Dude, I won Golden Gloves. I played college football. I competed BJJ, purple belt, 4-stripe purple belt. I've owned businesses. I'm freaking securities licensed. I have them licensed out the wazoo. I've traded options. I mean, I can literally go on this huge array of stuff.
Yeah."
I have my own insurance business. Like I can literally say,
you wearing a lot of hats.
I had a lot, man, and it feels good to feel so well rounded, and it feels good to be like in my skin, man. Like I can literally, when somebody be like, "Dude, Roy, I need you to go draw or put a mural up for me," I can do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can do it, and I feel good about it.
Yeah, it's
you know
important to like be well rounded and kind of always be growing.
It's crazy,
man.
New
challenges.
Always be growing, man. That's just
you
major.
have to, dude. You can't be stagnant because once you're stagnant, like that's when you die.
That's crazy. Like so did you
stop moving
when you in like your training? What made you evolve? So you went from like I've wrestled, I've done BJJ, I'm now at MMA, and now it's like boom, I hit this one level that kind of set me back. What'd you evolve to next? Tell me about that transition.
Dude, so like with fighting, I always just trying to like get better because I wasn't a good striker, and that was like the one thing. I remember like being so bad at it. Like you talked about Cronin earlier, dude. I would spar with Cronin, and he would throw a jab, and I'd throw a jab, or I'd throw a jab, and he'd hit me. And, like every time I threw a punch, I'm getting hit. But I knew though, like logically, like this can't last forever. Like eventually, like I just have to get better. So like just like loving the process and like understanding the process that you're eventually gonna get better, and then you just kind of see your skill and where you're at. And it's super important to be, like, having gone through it all now, like, belief and confidence really is the most important.
Yeah.
Because I've talked to people that, like, I've wrestled against in high school, and I've talked to people that I've fought against, and they always view me as a different guy than I view myself. Like,
what's that mean? Tell us.
Because, like, they'll always view me as, like, this, they see me bigger than probably, like, I see myself, like, a big, muscular, like, strong guy. Like, I mean, I'm pretty athletically talented, right? So, but like to me, like I'm just myself, right?
Right,
so,
right. In your skin, you seem different, and then what they perceive.
And I always feel like I'm not that big of a guy, like especially like I stand next to guys like you, like you're way bigger.
I'm bigger, yeah.
Yeah, so like I always kind of see myself as like a little bit of like the smaller guy, but I'm not too small,
right?
And so it's like just interesting to hear these, these other perspectives because when you're going into these like intense like competitions, it's so easy to focus on the other guy and to count yourself out. My wrestling coach in high school also used to say he played like a big influence in my role, like in my life. Actually, wrestling did in general. It really set the tone for like my whole life. And he always said like, yeah, like you're worried about them, but dude, they have to worry about you too. Like remember that. Right. So like it's important to have like the confidence and like the belief in yourself.
So how did
you compete and to do what you're able to do, man?
So how did you start? How it was like one day at the gym, all of a sudden you had this shirt and it's this new brand. You was like, I will. Like, oh, that's ingenious.
Oh, Imposed Will.
Yeah, like, so man. How did it come? Like, what happened?
So that just came about because I just realized, I was like, oh man, like I want to start a business and a clothing line. And specifically, it's gonna be like a fightwear line at the time, and I was just like, what are we trying to do here? Like, we're trying to impose our will. And, like, you still hear it today all the time. Like, you'll hear that phrase, impose their will. It's
dope, man.
And I'm just like, yeah, dude, like, imposed will. Like, I will. I was like, after a fight, I was at a bar with some friends, and we were talking about it. And I was like, yeah, dude. Like, I was like, will I? I was like, will imposed or imposed will? And I was like, will I was like, oh, I will. And then.
So dope.
So then, like, that's, like, the whole, like, concept began. And that's been.
Drop the website so my listeners
imposedwill.com. So you can check us out. We got the full line of apparel on there. Join the mailing list so you can stay up to date. But yeah, man. So that's like when just like the idea started, right? It was just gonna be like a fight wear line, and that's been a while ago. And when I graduated with my undergrad, I went real heavy on it. I made a few products. I contacted some manufacturers in China and like got them all the specs. So that was a real learning experience because like they want all the measurements like for the shirt so they can make it.
Wow.
And but the minimums were just gonna be so crazy high, and then it became one of those things to where. This is right after undergrad, and it was like, I have 2 kids now, and I was like, man, well, I probably just need to like get a job, and so I can pay some bills. And then like I wanted to do the fighting, so I was working and fighting, and like the whole entrepreneurial side with the brand just kind of went to the wayside. So I kept the brand with me throughout my fighting career. Like it's always kind of been synonymous with me, but it wasn't like a business, and I wasn't like putting out any products.
So what are you doing with it now?
So now, yeah, we just had the relaunch, and now we are again. The brand's always been there, but we've really honed in on the message and like what the mission is with the company, like building the community and helping people like realize their potential and have that strength and build that mental strength to like overcome adversity and like take ownership of their life and like impose their will on life. You know what I mean? And accomplish whatever it is that they want to accomplish. So that's like awesome. Yes, we have the rebrand. We redid the logo, and we have some products through the apparel, and got the website up and just doing all that. So back in business, and just reintroduced like in a better way. So the business side went away for a while. Like I was still kind of keeping the brand teetering and building the brand and along with fighting and whatnot. But now kind of bringing the two together and just growing it from there.
Oh, so you got more than shirt line, you got more than clothing, you got more. What other things?
Yeah, man. So
that goes along with Impose Will and people join the community. What should they expect?
Yeah, man. So I mean, yeah, the clothing is going to fuel the brand right now because money does help grow. Right. The whole mission. Mm-hmm. But again, it's just about building a community of people and teaching them that through difficult challenges and like through healthy habits, like we can build these. We can build like these. Well, we can develop these tools, and we can develop this mental strength to achieve whatever it is in life that you want. Whether like you're a grandmother or grandparent, and like you want to play with the grandkids and get healthy and like age gracefully, or like you want to start a company, or what I mean, just live the best life that whatever that is for you, because everybody has a different image of success. But I mean, at the end of the day, the mind is such a weird thing because it can be our greatest asset and our greatest tool, but it's also our greatest enemy. Right. And we have that inner voice. We have a lot of different thoughts throughout the day, some positive, some negative. And it's like, what do we choose to like focus on and allow into our space? Because we have some really messed up thoughts sometimes, but those, like, I think it's important to realize like you aren't all of your thoughts.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, it's building these habits of having more positive thoughts, and what happens when you do face adversity and challenges, because like the only way to grow is through difficult challenges. Like there's no way around it. So
give my listeners a couple habits that you do daily, or give me some things that you're currently working on. I remember I know listening to a couple of your podcasts, you talked about something like a 75-day something.
Oh yeah, so right now I'm doing 75 hard. Which is a program that was developed, by Andy Frisella, which is the owner of First Form, which is a huge international supplement company, and then supplement superstores. They're big here in the Midwest. He has 5 other companies as well, and he developed this as a mental strength program, which was really cool because I really got that a lot with fighting, but after fighting, I haven't really had that challenge in that way. To really test the mental aspect of it, because
so how does it work? What do you have
so
to do?
For this challenge is 75 days straight. You have to do 5 things. So every day you have to work out twice a day, 45 minutes each. One has to be outside. Read 10 pages of self-development every day. Follow a diet. You choose the diet. No cheat meals, no alcohol. Drink a gallon of water every day, and take a progress pic every day. If you don't do any of those things or any one of those things in the day, then you fail the day. You have to start over on day 1. So it'd be day 74 and you don't do it, and you have to start all the way back over. So.
Oh, that's intense.
Yeah, man. So it kind of reminds me of
what day are you on? So I know.
I think I'm on 36. Let me check. I think I'm on day 36, I do believe.
And so is this a start over, or you're just?
Oh no, I lied. Today's day 38.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I mean, whenever I first did it, dude, because he started this back at the beginning of the year, and like I just wasn't mentally there. So I tried it like 5 or 6 times, and, like failed day one every time. So I'm just not ready for it. But then I knew I just got to this point where like I just wasn't having like.
So you miss a picture, a progress picture, like boom, taking a snapshot. That's you got to start over.
Yeah, if you miss it, anything. Because, dude, you just got to do it, man. It's
just
about
gotta do it. I like that.
And the thing is, dude, it's 75 days because so many people want to celebrate early. Like, they do things halfway, and they just want to give themselves a pat. Oh, good enough. I've been doing great. I deserve that. Like, no, you don't. The job isn't done. Like, you haven't earned it yet. You need to see things through to completion, not halfway, not day 30, not day 30, not day 74, right. 75. Like, and then you finish it. It's actually a part of the whole, like, year-long, like, Live Hard program that he created, but I mean, that's just kind of like the foundational, and you can either do that. You don't have to do the whole thing, but like that's just kind of like the entry to that.
75
and that program itself is just so difficult. I mean, there's been times where like I say no all the time, and it just again reminded me to my fighting days because like when I'm cutting weight, I say no to food all the time, and so like now I just do it. But I don't have the same like excuse to why other than I just don't want to now.
Do you have urges like going through this program? Like, so you're eating on this diet, and you said it doesn't matter. So
for me,
does a cheat meal meaning it could be in that diet? Like, my diet said I can have one cheat meal. Does that mean it's good or no?
No cheat meals. You have to follow the diet. You can't throw cheat meals into your diet.
So what if the diet says you can have a cheat meal?
But that's a weak diet, though. That'd be a pretty weak diet.
So what's a good diet then? What should my listeners be looking for?
So like for me, for example, like my diet is just all I do is just eat real food, and I cut out all the processed junk. So like I still eat carbohydrates, but no processed carbohydrates. So the biggest thing I took out was like pizza. I fucking love pizza. So I took out pizza because of like there's no refined.
My kids love pizza.
I don't eat bread anyway, but like I don't really do pastas even that much anymore either. So
sweet potatoes you have.
Yeah, I eat potatoes. I eat rice. I'll even do oatmeal sometimes because I got some organic. Like,
what's wrong with oatmeal?
Huh?
What's wrong with
some people? It just depends on who you're talking to, right? And kind of what school of thought people have with. Just different foods, but that can cause some inflammation for some people and some digestive issues, just depending on the person. Everybody's totally different.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So so it is wheat, right? Yeah. So it is a wheat, like it's oats. Yeah. So there's a little bit of process that goes into that. So I will eat that, but just not on a regular basis.
Nice.
So I pretty much just stick with like potatoes and rice for my carbohydrates.
Okay.
So just real foods. You're just meats, vegetables. Potatoes, right? Fruits, but nothing processed, none of the junk. Tons of water on the diet, obviously. So I mean, just keep it real simple and just eat a lot of food. So I actually found that I was losing too much weight too fast. Like the other day, I was like 182.5, and like my energy was low because like I just probably wasn't getting enough carbohydrates.
Yeah, you needed to pack in more.
So,
right?
dude, I just been eating like crazy this past week, and same foods, just more of it. And, like I'm back up to like 187. It's like so. I mean, it's probably like 5 pounds on right there, but there's some fluctuation in there. So it's not a huge fluctuation. I'm just trying to like lower my set point, make sure I'm cut and I'm lean. Probably walk around about 184. So I mean, that's only about 3 pounds where I really want to be and where I'm at now. So it's just people get too caught up, I feel like, in the diet aspect of it. So I'm just cutting out the junk. I'm just eating real food, and it's a living document. Like I'm monitoring how much I take in, how much I eat.
What are you using for that? Are you just writing it down?
No, man, I just listen to my body. Like I'm not that guy who and I tell this when I coach people, because some people really need to be told how much and what.
Right.
And like I'll guide you and I'll help you with like healthy habits, but I'm not going to tell you how much. Like you need to learn to listen to your body. And we all
talk
do.
to that. Talk to my listeners about your coaching. Is this something that is on Imposed Will?
So I do that kind of under that brand of Imposed Will, just because there is a lot of mindset to that, and like the healthy habits and the movement. But yeah, man, just like with health coaching clients, is like it's just about like what can we add in that's going to be healthy, because I mean change is hard and we're changing habits, and it's just about like just doing what we can and adding in a little bit of things here at a time, right? A little bit at a time.
Yeah, so like
because you can't do a lot of big changes. People are going to resist that, right? So
right.
I just keep it simple with this, like eating real food and just adding in healthier things, and then we can start taking out some of the junk and upgrading foods all the time. So, all right, well, what are you eating now?
Yeah.
I had a client, she liked to drink like Slim Fast shakes, because so many people believe these things are healthy. And say, all right, cool. Well, you like the shake and you want to use it as a meal replacement. All right, well, let's get you on like a really good protein, and now you have a protein shake there. So it's just like, how can we, enhance that and do better?
So when it came to MMA and mixed martial arts for your training, you would have to do certain diets, all these align. So
I've gotten better. I did. So I think about like what we've learned in like fitness and health, and like how much science has come along.
Yeah.
And like, dude, I thought it was healthy back then, but like I was eating like pancakes and different things. Like that stuff's garbage, bro.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what were you doing back then? Like back then, you had to cut weight, doing all that stuff.
Yeah, man. So you just learn. But towards the end, though, I had it down to such a science because I was fighting as an amateur. I fought at 185. I tell people all the time, there's no point in like cutting a lot of weight as an amateur because you're not getting paid for it.
Right.
And like you can usually make up the difference just in skills and different things. But I was fighting at 170 as a pro. And like I had to cut so much weight, but I had it down to a science to where like I was just eating better, and I would lower my set point, and I'd diet down to a certain weight, and then cut the X amount of water at the end there, and you just learn more and you just get better, dude. Like
wow.
So I didn't go to school and get like a degree in like nutrition or exercise science or anything, but I've studied just as much, if not more, than those guys. Yeah. And dude, between podcasts and books and just conversations and different things and certifications, and you just learn so much, dude. Like,
I feel like society is moving towards this new thing where we're understanding it's important what we're digesting. People are living longer, but I also feel like it was like now everyone's like, oh man, there's this new thing about. Look at a freaking buffalo. A buffalo is not saying what cow he ate to get the protein. They're eating freaking grass. So there's this new vegan movement.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
There's always zealots and everything. I'm not really a fan of the whole veganism. If it works,
a big movement
now.
If
it works for some people, that's great. But I mean, I feel like we are meant to have meat. Like we kind of need it. Not everybody can live on we're all different. That's the thing, right? So people need to take that into account. Not everybody can live off a vegan diet. Some people, especially kids, and you're developing, and some people put their pets on a vegan diet. And it's like, golly, what are you doing, man? So it's really what a lot of people get benefits out of is just the elimination diet part of that,
right?
Like where they're taking out all this
fast
junk
food.
Yeah, they eliminate a lot of junk, and they tend to eat more vegetables when they do stuff like that. So they end up feeling better, and they credit it to this one particular diet, but it's like all the other crap that you really took out. Yeah. So it's whether or not those things are sustainable. So I always just kind of promote just eating real food. Keep it real simple.
So that's where I'm at, man. So like I have a lot of friends, they do competitions, they compete on the stage, and they may be pro, whether it's bodybuilding and stuff. I actually I enjoy food. I like the taste of food.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't necessarily say I need to go get fast food. I like to cook. Like last night, I baked chicken wrapped in bacon, sprinkled with brown sugar, covered with teriyaki sauce. And I baked it with sliced apples, and I baked it in there with apple juice, and it was amazing. It had veggies on the side. You know what I'm saying? That was rock star for me, man.
Yeah.
I love the taste of food, right? Not saying I'm a chef or anything, but it was one thing I was like, hey, this is a meal I prepared, and it tastes amazing.
Yeah, dude, you definitely have to cook a lot more. And, like, if you notice, I've noticed, like, so a lot of the healthier stuff for you tends to be more bitter. And, like, a lot of our palates are really geared towards sweet things.
Right.
There's a lot of sugar in a lot of different things. Like
everything, sugar in everything.
Like, and I can, like, even just like in your recipe there, you probably put like 3 things in there that were just different forms of sugar, right? Like apple juice,
brown sugar,
and teriyaki
apple
sauce.
Juice, and teriyaki.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Teriyaki probably had a little bit of like sugar in there,
yep.
And then the
fructose
juice,
corn syrup, the juice,
right?
all day.
So like our palates are like geared towards all these different sweet things, but like the more you get away from like the sugar additives and different things, and like you eat healthier foods, like your palate will change. I hear people talk about how they don't like vegetables or they don't like this and that, but you add more spices and less marinades, and you start cooking more and experimenting and figuring out what you do like, and just taking like a little bit of work. That's the thing. Being healthy it's work. It takes more work.
It
Just
does.
even being better takes more work. Dude, I saw this post the other day. It hit so hard for home, or so yeah. It
hit hard.
Hit hard. Yeah, hit hard at home or whatever. Dude, it said that today, like everybody average is so well rewarded. Today,
so true.
It's like
trophy for everyone.
If
right?
you're poor, there's programs to help you. There's aid and different things, which I'm not saying those are bad, but those are there.
Yeah.
And then there's 401ks and there's tax breaks and incentives, and if you're kind of middle class and just different things, and the people around you always want to be poor or want to be average. Like there's just all these incentives to be average, but then when you start getting poor, or you start becoming elite, you get higher taxes, and there's people start calling you like greedy and hitting you up for to borrow money if you start, and saying these different things about you, like if you are doing well, and there's just less incentive to be elite, because being average is rewarded so well.
That's true, and you got to think too,
I should
man.
just pull up the fucking post.
Pull it up, man. But you got to think, man. Like the successful do what the unsuccessful want. You know what I'm saying? So you got a situation where,
yeah, dude,
it's hard for people to say I'm finna eliminate sugar. You know what I mean? To challenge myself. This is something that I personally would do. I literally try to challenge myself as much as possible. I went a whole year. I was like, I'm not going to eat anything that's regular meat. So I'm just going to do fish, and I'm going to do when I say I wasn't doing no beef or pork, basically.
Yeah.
And that was just my challenge. And I made it through the whole year. I did the Daniel fast. So I couldn't have anything with sugar. Only thing I was only able to eat during certain time periods. I do these things not because of what I physically want to change about me.
Yeah.
But I want to change my mindset. And
right.
You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to say there's no limit, nothing can overcome my mind. You know what I'm saying?
100%, which is exactly why I'm doing the 75 hard, because
that's why I got interested. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, well, because man, so I got a lot of that mental strength and stuff through fighting. I can remember had to stay strict on the diet, and I'd get down to weight cuts, and it's just me. I already worked for the day. It's late. This is the day before. I probably haven't had solid food that day. I've just been drinking nothing but water up until the weight cut.
Yeah.
Now it's late at night, and I have plastics on, and I have sweats and stuff on, a stocking cap, and I'm at the gym, and it's 10 at night, and I'm on the treadmill, and I'm on the row machine, I'm on the bike and the stair stepper, and I'm rotating between these things, and I'm hitting the sauna. And sometimes
I used to see people doing this crazy stuff. What are you doing?
Sometimes you're just dead too, man. You're so exhausted. I did all my weight cuts by myself, which probably wasn't a smart thing.
Hell no.
But there were times where I'm on the stair stepper, or I'm on the bike, and I'm just man, this guy, you start hyping yourself, he's not, I'm going through all this work right now, and then I'm not gonna let this dude take it from me, right? Kind of adds that competitive edge. But in the life edge, I'm nobody else is doing this.
Nobody else is doing this.
And it sets you apart, and you just feel that. You're man, you just understand what your capacity is, because it's I just ran 5 miles on the treadmill, and I haven't eaten in 24 hours, and I'm dehydrated, and it's and you're gonna try to tell me that you can't do something, and I know what a physical body is actually capable of.
See, that makes me think about this 75-day hard. I guarantee this is a habit that's gonna create it.
It's tough, dude.
It's tough, but once you've got this habit, it's gonna be kind of rare, or it's probably gonna be probably unrealistic for you to change up that habit. It'd be
dude, it's really putting in.
It's gonna be norm for you.
It's really resetting my morning routine, dude.
Right.
It's putting me in the best spot possible, and a lot of these habits are gonna carry on probably throughout my whole life.
That's what I'm thinking.
Dude, and he talks about how dude, this is harder than any Ironman. This is harder than 75 days. Mentally, dude, this is hard. You're gonna see physical challenge gains from the challenge, but it's not a physical fitness challenge.
Right.
Some days I'm so exhausted, I'll just walk for 45 minutes.
Wow.
I just do more active recovery, mobility, and different things.
Yeah.
So it's it's not about the physical; it's just about mental commitment to doing it, dude.
What do you think? There's a lot of individuals that wrestle, going into MMA and all the above. What do you think their transition should be when they're trying to make this next shift? Let's just say, yourself, you're a person that's able to say, there's a business around that. How many individuals are now I've been training at the school. BJJ beat your body up. Judo beat your body up. That's all about what you're doing right now.
Yeah, I mean,
You know
recovery is definitely where it's at.
the recovery, right?
Yeah,
Recovery,
man.
right? Yeah, I impose will recovery, right? And
It's a part of it, dude. It's a foundation of health for sure.
yeah. So, what do you think? Is there something that is? So, are you? Is there something that you've already built out? Is there something you're thinking about, or tell me about that on that side?
No programs in place right now. I'm thinking about maybe doing some instructional, maybe content. We'll see around like mobility and whatnot.
That's
but,
awesome.
With the health coaching kind of piece, like whenever I'll have that conversation with people, like that's a major component of just health in general and just understanding like a snapshot of where people are and how they can improve. And most often it's usually in sleep. Yeah, for real, dude.
I'm from training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, just realizing how important stretching is. Like I grapple a lot, but as a bigger guy, and you just grunt, you pull, tug, and you use a lot of these muscles that you can really feel it if haven't done BJJ in a while, and you go back, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, what just hit me?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you start realizing these certain body parts just feel so different, especially from when being young and older and recovering faster. You know what I'm saying?
Well, as we get older and move into like advanced age, like the way we train needs to change.
Right.
Like, because most of us are so used to training one way, and we always feel, oh, I don't train the way I used to, and that's a real mental hurdle for a lot of people, especially guys.
Yeah.
So you just gotta learn just to train differently, dude. Training needs to be like an all the time thing. Like, training doesn't look like what it used to look like. It's not always.
Dude, we was pounding. Like going hard, 5-minute drills, like trying to compete, like competition style, like going.
Yeah.
All day, every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
it's not always that, dude. Yeah, so this is what it says, dude. I'm
Look it up. Back. Look it up, listeners.
Dude, yeah, it says it's awfully rewarding to be average these days. If you're poor, there's social programs and benefits. If you're lower middle class, there's tax incentives, free health care, free babysitting. If you're average, your friends don't hate you, they don't get jealous, and they don't put a damper on your plans. If you're average, they don't have to spend money on a special diet. If you're average, you don't have to spend money on a special diet or workout routine. Instead, you get to sit on your ass instead of busting it. Again, it's pretty goddamn rewarding to be average these days. When you decide to become elite, here's what happens. When you become elite, they raise your tax rate. They make it harder to grow and scale. When you become elite, it's expensive to take care of your health. Whole Foods, health spa, and supplements aren't cheap. When you become elite, your friends and family try to borrow money, call you greedy, and try to keep you from doing great things. When you become elite, your coworkers try to sabotage you because you make them look bad. It's hell on those who want to be elite. Why? Because elite is a word reserved for very few. Very few can go through the fires of hell and come out as forged steel. But those who do earn the title of elite. I'll take the pain of being elite over the comfort of being average any day.
That's real.
Bro, that caption hit me so hard because it's so true, especially when they talk about when you're trying to be like the health part, like it's more expensive to eat healthier and it's more work to cook for yourself.
Right.
And like it's not easy, right? And like you have to say no to people and you have to cut certain people off, like when you're trying to become elite.
Yeah. Who are your friends? Who are you hanging around?
It's just a part of it, man.
It's like, and that's a big freaking deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, even with even I don't know if you even realize this, but there's times in our lives that are just kind of like, it just seems like things happen for a reason, and so like those opportunities, some people don't even realize them. So like you talked about being elite, and you're talking about eliminating things, right? So it's kind of like you could do all the right things sometimes, but it may not have the result that you think is supposed to happen, and all of a sudden you get connected. Somehow the stars align, and it's just so weird, some random connection. Like, I understand your podcast is growing, right?
Yeah.
How did that connection come?
It's
like random stuff.
Well, there's a number of ways that can happen, right? We're talking about like the law of attraction. Like, what are you radiating? Like, what energy you're putting out there? But also, I think it's important to realize that like opportunity isn't finite. It's important to have that growth mindset as opposed to that scarcity. There's always opportunity. So you may miss one opportunity, but there's probably going to be another one coming.
Right?
So you just need to be ready to capitalize on opportunity. opportunity.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes you're not, or sometimes you try and you fail, or whatever the case may be. But there's no limit in opportunity. You just have to be willing to take the next one, dude.
That's awesome.
You know, so many people have a scarcity mindset, and you can't have that.
That's awesome, man. See, Adam is an individual who I've just knowing him so many years now, 10 plus years coming up. I've observed him and I've seen his growth. And listeners, trust me when I tell you, this is someone he's really carving out a space for what he's trying to do and the value that he's trying to provide the people that he helps on a day-to-day basis. Like, it's so real. I'm sure of the people that follow you applaud you, and there's a reason why you're growing. There's a reason why you're doing what you're doing. There's a reason why you've made your space, man. Just keep it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, much appreciated, man.
No doubt, man. No doubt. So, like, next, let me ask you this. As you transition now, no more MMA fighting?
Yeah, I'm done with fighting. I'm still doing a little bit of jiu-jitsu competing. Is that my phone? Is that your phone?
That's probably you.
That's me. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah, so I'm still competing some jiu-jitsu. There's actually a 5-on-5 tournament coming up called Sub 5, kind of based off like quintet, like dual style no-gi tournament. Yeah, I don't know. So
I ain't never heard of that.
All right. So I'm gonna do some jiu-jitsu. Just working towards that coveted black belt.
No doubt.
Yeah, just building the brand, building the podcast, Outside Perspective. So, I mean, that's just kind of where everything's going now.
So, the podcast, tell us about that and what you got working with that.
Yeah, so, I mean, the show's called Outside Perspective. I'm dropping 2 episodes a week. It's essentially just me sitting down with interesting humans, trying to gain some perspective, and, you know, helping others do the same as well, dude. So, sit down with a huge array of people. We talk I got doctors and engineers and martial artists and, you know, authors and speakers and just a whole bunch of different people.
Yeah.
There's probably something for everybody.
That's awesome, man. So your goal is to just provide something.
Yeah, man, just to connect with as many people as possible. Again, I started the podcast really for me to, like, gain empathy, like really work on that and like connecting with people.
Cool.
And I do all of them in person, like 100%, because I feel like it's so important to sit down and have that connection with people.
Yeah.
And I'm always just trying to learn and grow, man. So I'm just trying to connect with as many different people and interesting people as possible and just gain perspective. Because I mean, how many times do you like wish that you like had perspective when you were younger?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's not until after we've experienced something. So through these conversations, man, hopefully, you know, others will gain some perspective as well.
I love that, man. So it's like there's always these little lessons. I tell individuals, that's the reason why I started my podcast. I learned a lot from certain movies, Enter the Dragon, The Last Dragon, and there was all these little basic lessons.
Yeah, man.
You would hear things like the art of fighting without fighting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So everybody knows it's Bruce Lee.
A lot of knowledge in movies, dude.
It's a lot of knowledge there, right? Of movies growing up. And so it sounds like you're providing that. You're dropping these nuggets for individuals to just able to say, let me grab that, let me apply that. I hope my listeners are really taking that on with these habits. Like me, my habit, RoyRob, your host, he always does his affirmations. That's me. Every morning I wake up and I think about how powerful the tongue is. I always start with, death and life is in the power of the tongue, and they that love it will eat its fruit thereof. And the tongue is the power of life and death, and they that love it will eat its fruit.
Yeah, for real, dude. I mean, your belief and your speech and your thoughts, like, all of these things matter, dude.
That's
like,
awesome.
What
man.
do you speak, and like, what are you listening to, and you know, who are you listening to?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, all of those things influence your world and your existence.
Well, I wanted to just sit down with you, give it from an MMA perspective. Individual who's been in it, you've done it, you fought on a high level. You've done. Tell us some of the accolades there. Like you tell the people, my listeners, your belt. So you are what right now?
I'm a 4-stripe purple belt right now.
Nice, awesome.
Should be brown belt pretty soon.
It's coming. And then MMA. What's the highest? What did you ever?
Fought on Bellator. Had a number of good wins. Won some belts along the way. Had a lot of fights, man. So I fought MMA, fought professional kickboxing, fought boxing.
And applicable, what sports would you tell or what martial arts, or what would you tell someone who's just starting out? What's a good foundation for them to get into?
Depending on where you're at, if you're still in school and your school offers a wrestling program, get into wrestling.
Okay.
100%. If you can find a jiu-jitsu school, do jiu-jitsu as well. Those are pretty much like good foundational points for anybody who just wants to learn a martial art and like be a part of a community. Jiu-jitsu is great for that. There's obviously self-defense there. Yeah. The health aspects are going to be there. If you are wanting to fight, I mean, that's just a great foundation as well. But if you have the time, get into wrestling for sure if that's at your school.
Cool, 100%. Cool. And then as far as the businesses, where can people follow you? Where can people go? What do they get to join their community?
Imposedwill.com. You can also check out the podcast at outsideperspectivepodcast.com. We're big on Instagram as well, which again is just imposedwill or outsideperspective_podcast. Have some Facebook pages at those same handles. Twitter as well. We don't have the podcast on Twitter, but Instagram's also on Twitter. But I'm most active on Instagram. So
YouTube.
Oh, yeah, we're on YouTube. I mean, if you want to check out the podcast on YouTube, right now it's just under me, so just check out Adam Meredith. So Adam Meredith. So check me out on Instagram as well. So Adam Meredith _. So there we are.
All right, so I have to do this to you. This is the one time at the end of every show I always have to challenge people. Can you name for me? This is RoyRob trivia clue time. All right, name for me. I'll give you two because this is fairly easy. First one is related to BJJ. All right, so name for me 5 Gracie brothers.
5 Gracie brothers?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know if I know like all the Gracie. I'm not that good at that kind of
stuff. You can do it, man.
So you got Hickson.
1.
You got Hoist.
2.
Hoyler.
3.
I don't know, bro. I can throw out some Gracies, but I don't think like their brother's like Crone Gracie.
Yeah,
like, but
that's
he's not.
Son, right? That's
like,
Hickson's son.
Yeah,
isn't it Hickson's son? Yeah,
I think so. So
yeah.
I mean, there's.
You got it. It's got to be
Carlson Gracie.
I think you might be right.
Yeah, I think.
All right. Well, let's do the dad. Give me the dad too.
Oh, I know Elio.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
all right,
but
so we did.
But then you also have like the Machados.
Yeah.
Like they're the cousins.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So then my next quiz question, I gotta get you. This is movie style. All right.
Okay.
We're going movies here.
Yeah.
We're gonna flip it up. Name for me top 5 martial arts movies of all time. Top 5.
Man, that one's so hard.
Top 5, man. We could do 5. I give you.
I just say 5 that I like.
Yeah,
5 that I like. It's so hard, but golly, man. So I really do like Enter the Dragon was fly. I mean,
check.
Obviously,
no doubt,
Bruce Lee,
big time.
But like, man, I really love. Dude, I don't know if you've seen like the Ong Bak movies.
Come on, man, have I seen it? Of course.
Ong Bak was dope.
2.
Let's go with that one, and then. Because these are a little bit different styles, right? So I also liked.
Dude, it's so cool when he would come with the elbows, and you see the elephant in the background, and you see his training. Yeah, and his Muay Thai.
He had a movie called The Protector where it was just about him protecting elephants.
And he was young. Well, not young. It was supposed to be the ancestors.
Yeah,
trust me, bro. I know
but
him.
But then Ong Bak 3 got really weird. That one was a little bit more like mystical. Ong Bak 2 was good, but I also really liked The Raid. I probably put that in there.
Was sick,
dude. I think it was like Raid 2 actually, or whatever.
Yeah, Raid 2 might have been the one.
Maybe it was like Raid. But either way, they're going up, dude. Sick fight scenes.
Yeah, all right, I'm with you.
Those are sick. Yeah,
2 more, man. 2 more.
Man, there's so many like amazing movies with fight scenes, and I also noticed like a lot of these like martial art movies are actually. So you have the action ones that are really based on just like the beautiful choreography, and there's a lot of like almost like dance to that.
Right.
But then there's a lot of like really deep stories in a lot of these too, especially love stories too. So I really like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Ooh.
Dude, just some amazing choreography in that one.
Oh my God, was it not beast mode?
Oh man, it was just so beautiful. It's like what they're doing.
Just the storyline is off the chain, man. Hey, I'm sorry, man.
No, you're
good. Go ahead. What's your number 5?
Dude, there's just. It's just so hard.
You gonna go Iron Monkey? No. That was beast mode. I'm sorry. I'm throwing mine.
God, yes, dude. I just feel like I could just throw out just so many, but like, dude, like, fucking one of my. I don't almost. Do I throw out like a Jet Li movie or something because like he was so sick?
Yeah, man.
But I'm thinking, what is Ip Man.
Man, yeah. That was, dude. Which one though? 2, 3?
Probably 2.
Yeah,
I really
man.
like 2 a lot.
Man,
But dude, there's so many that, dude. So during that time, whenever I was a security guard, I just watched so many freaking movies.
That's
dude.
awesome,
So
man.
many movies, dude.
That's awesome.
And like I would just go through these spurts to where like I just would read all the subtitles and you just get into the subtitle movies and just that's when it really opens up. When you really don't worry about the subtitles, you read those bad boys. I got to be in the mood though. But man.
Dude, that's what.
So many good.
I learned,
what was that movie Jackie Chan where he played like the drunken master, dude?
Yeah, man. So that was that's a multiple. So you have a bunch of those.
Yeah, right.
Depending on which one you're talking about, because it is literally Drunken Master.
Dude, yeah, there is Drunken Master. There is Drunken Master. That's probably what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
of.
it's Drunken Master.
He's
you know
so
what I'm saying?
good.
Yeah, dude, it's a bunch of them.
Dude.
Man. Like, Jackie's my boy. I can't even. It's hard to even name these guys.
Yeah, and I was just trying to like pick from different areas too, dude. Because I was like,
man.
you know, you got your classic, and then you got like Muay Thai, and then you got like so many different styles.
It's so much love when it comes to just the martial art. The evolution of it is just insane, man.
Oh man,
like it's just this is the reason why I do my podcast, and I think about where we're going and where it's gonna go to. Like it's influenced hip hop.
Yeah, hip hop with Wu-Tang.
Come on, man.
Dude, man.
It's done so much that
Yeah.
it's like you have no choice but to embrace it.
Well, the Asian culture and the Black culture have a very like synergistic like relationship with each other, where like they influence each other, right? Like you talked about martial arts influencing like the Black culture, and then you got hip hop influencing the world, as well as Asian culture. How many of the world's best dancers are like little Asian people?
They break dance.
But they're hip hop. But that's all hip hop. That's all Black culture, right?
Exactly, dude. It's insane, man. Like even and it's a big change. I know I'm starting to study how even China has a huge influence over Africa right now. You know what I'm saying? Like it's big right now. It's a lot of stuff going on where the connections are there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you start just like I said, just people just wrap your arms around it. Be a little different. Be willing to listen. You can get so much stuff out of things that you never thought you would have got out of it.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So, man, I appreciate you, man. Welcome on to the podcast. I'm going to have you back, man.
Thanks for having
all
me.
day. Hey, checking out. This is your boy, RoyRob. Shout out to Adam Meredith. Go check him out. Go follow. He's definitely worth it. You're going to get so much value just for checking him out. Later. Tune in next time for another great episode of Enter the Last Dragon.